All right, and we're live, and we got another episode of the 214 Sports Show. I forgot what episode it is at this point. It's like what? Let me guess.
16,
16.
I think.
I think it's
7,
16. Sweet 16. The quinceanera of the, no, that's 15. I'm stupid. I always screwed up. That's 15. I took Spanish this semester too, man. It's over.
Our podcast is finished.
Well, all right. Well, at least let's enjoy this last episode. All right, last episode we had an exciting one for the Cowboys. The Mavs on the other side. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it today. We got Courtney Machini and Joseph Duffy right here. Yeah, Machani. Sorry, I'm like, dude. I don't know why I like decided to wake up today. Like it's one of those days where it's like I need to go back to bed, man. But anyways, we keep going. So got the 15th episode. Today will be December 8th or December 7th for this podcast. On today's date, December 7th, 2019, I got a Mavericks one this week because I couldn't find anything about the Cowboys. Believe it or not, we haven't done anything really that noticeable on December 7th. So I went on the Mavericks, and the Mavericks, they beat the Pelicans by 46 on December 7th, 2019. 46 points. I don't even remember this game, to be honest.
I remember
final score. You remember it? Okay. All right. By a final score of 130-84. I believe this was Zion's rookie year. He did not play. Luka was the leading scorer with 26 points. Boban had 16 and 15. And the Mavs moved to 16-6 on the year. They were 16-6 that year. I think they finished the 7th seed because that was the COVID year. I don't remember them being starting off that good. I really, it sucks because that season was like really fun for me, but I cannot remember that start of the season. I do not remember starting off 16-6. That's strong. Took me back a little bit.
I do kind of remember starting off a little bit hot, but that Pelican team was not that good. Just we used to beat up on them a little bit. But it's a little bit different now.
Hey, don't
it's bad when Boban was getting legit minutes.
Yeah.
Don't let him get away with that LeBron type lie, bro. He tried to beat LeBron. He said, "Oh, I remember that game. He don't remember that game, bro."
I'm a super fan. What do you mean? I can't remember this game?
He don't remember that game, bro. That was
crazy. I'm a Mavs fan for life. It was. Too bad we fell short in the bubble, though. It was so sad. We had it. I
mean, that Clippers series.
I don't know for the wrong reasons. The Clippers were way better than us that year. We should have had it next year. The next year is when we should have had it.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what
Kawhi, man.
That was
when he was on, bro. When he was on,
man.
Unreal.
It's like why could it?
We couldn't miss like.
Oh yeah, of course it's like the 2 years
jumper on lock.
Oh yeah, of course the 2 years that we played him in the playoffs was the 2 years that he decided not to take games off with load management and stuff, and he was actually playing. Like, of course, our luck.
Crazy.
I wonder how many percentages. I wonder, like, the percentage of games not Kyrie. That would actually be an interesting statistic too. But Kawhi, like, how much he's played, like the percentage of games he's actually played in his career. Because I want to know that. It could be close to, like... I've seen that
statistic before. I don't know what it is, but...
It's got to be. It could be close to 50 at this point almost. Probably closer to 75, though. I would say that. That's pretty crazy, though. Anyways, let's get to trivia while Courtney looks that up. I actually do want to know this, though.
How would you even find that, though? Like, you have to look at the games he's eligible for and then the games he's actually, like, participated in? Because I don't know if they put that like basketball reference anymore.
He's on like the active roster. I don't know if people keep track of that.
647 games, right? So I mean, if he plays 647 games, and there's 82 games.
He's been in the league for like 10 years, 3,
4, 5.
That's close to 1,000 games, 1,000 eligible games, probably around
He said 984. Yeah,
984.
So, yeah.
See. Well, then you also had the COVID year, so they had less.
Oh yeah, so it might be a little weird, but off of those numbers, it's like 65%. But then the COVID year might like
that is crazy. That's crazy.
That's still pretty crazy though.
All right. Well, there is one superstar in the league that doesn't take a lot of load management. Did Joe have to take his own load management, bro? Like what? Wait, what happened?
Yo, I'm so all over the place, bro. Nah, he's just load management.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll give him like a minute. A minute. All right. So let me. I'll give him the trivia once he comes back. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Because we won 41-35 against Seattle, man. Joe, come on, bro. You got to come back. All right. So we're up. So won the game 41-35 though. Went the 9-3 on the season. Eagles lost to the 49ers. Pretty huge loss. Really bad loss. Oh wait. All right, Joe, load it in.
Sorry. Stuff is bugging bad, man.
Nah, you all right, man?
I'm good. Right. It's bugging, man.
Yeah. Joe's day to day.
It's really bad. Connected. He's Duffy Wi-Fi. It's just not great. It's not great
right now.
He on a minute restriction.
So, all right,
I'm literally hanging on to a limb, bro. I wish I had an Ethernet cable.
Okay, I'll go to the trivia since you're back now. All right, so my question was gonna be, so I'm gonna have it to whoever's closer to the answer, because Luka has scored a lot of points in his career. My question was just how many points has Luka scored in his career? Just like thousands, in the thousands.
Oh my God!
Whoever's closer, we'll get it. We'll get the win.
Got to be like, I don't think he's at 10. I don't think he's at 10,000 yet.
Is that 5
he's probably at like
now, right? 6 now?
What, I don't know.
Is this his 5th year?
6th season.
6th year.
5
Time flies. 5 full seasons.
Yeah.
He's probably like, I'm going to say 7,500. 7,500 career points.
Bro, since when do we answer the trivia right now?
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Say that, bro.
Come on, bro.
He just all over the place, bro.
I know, dude. Like, this dude comes back and he thinks...
You know what? I'll change my answer then. Sorry.
No, you all right.
This is bad delay. Okay, it's bad delay. Bad delay.
Go.
All right. So now we're going back to the Cowboys. Transition back to the Cowboys. So I already said 41-35 win against Seattle. 9-3 on the season. Only one game behind Philadelphia now with their huge blowout loss to San Francisco at home last week. I'm going to be honest, though, real quick. I did not like that. That game did not make me happy at all because now I think Philadelphia is going to be completely ready for this game this week. There's no way that they allow San Francisco and Dallas, their two main competitors, to blow them out back-to-back weeks. It's just not going to happen. So that's something that I'm a little worried about. But let's just talk about the Seattle game real quick. Let's focus on the Seattle game. I know it's been about 2 weeks since that game has happened, or I believe 1 week. Since that game has happened when this game will or when this episode will air, but this was a very interesting game, very, very interesting game, very entertaining game. Only 5th game in NFL history without a punt, so if that tells you anything about it. So I want to just ask both of you guys about the game and what you liked and disliked about the game. Anyone can take the mic.
He on a delay. I guess
I could hear it.
If you were punters, man, you were.
He's like the news reporter. He's like.
Oh. You want me to start? No, start.
You start.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to start? You want me to start? I can't see any of you. Like my connection is so bad. I'm literally relying on audio. Yeah, I can't think that's gonna say. I mean, the secondary.
Bro, you gotta use
rough game. So
No, I'm not saying
I should, but like
I'm
but like the Cowboys, their offense was rolling again. A little bit of a slow start in the beginning, trying to keep up with DK and Geno Smith, but the secondary just had a rough game. DeRon Bland in particular, coming off that record-breaking game against Washington. He's trying to keep it going, but overall, his coverage just wasn't good today. They were targeting him the whole game. And also, it was starting to be that time of the year. I hate to be that kind of pessimistic Cowboys fan, but it's that time of the year where the third down defense just falls by the wayside, and it starts to get a little bit rough. I believe we were 9 of 14 on defensive third downs. They were converting third downs almost at will until like the fourth quarter. We couldn't get any stops in the first three quarters at all. So we were generating pressure actually at a good rate. But, props to Geno Smith for getting the ball out quickly and making sure to get it out to his targets really fast so that he couldn't get sacked, because I don't believe we sacked him once. If we did, it was only one time. But the pressure was there, but we just couldn't finish plays. And so I think most of the finishing could have been a credit to the fact we couldn't cover the receivers also, because I thought Dan Quinn was playing a little bit soft in his secondary coverage as well, not pressing these Seahawks receivers, and also that miscommunication between DeRon Bland and our safeties in the beginning that had that big, breakaway touchdown. So I thought that really cost us in the beginning. I hope it doesn't cost us in the future, because I didn't think the Seahawks team was that good. I told you that in the last podcast episode, and I was pleasantly surprised how close that game was. I almost thought we were going
to. This for sure getting published.
Yeah, we gotta carry this pod, man. We gotta carry this pod. Yeah, you got it. You got it while he's fixing it.
He just got Paul pierced. Oh, he's back.
Dude, Jesus Christ, man. This is embarrassing.
He ever pops up.
He was spinning though.
He was currently. I hope he didn't lose his train of thought.
He definitely. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Can you see me? Can you hear me or see me?
I can
hear you.
We can see you now.
Can you hear me or see me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's working perfectly right now.
Oh, man. You just couldn't go, Courtney. I'm sorry. I hate this.
All right, I'm going to go.
Literally in my own house, I can't have Wi-Fi.
That's pretty crazy.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I feel so bad, man. But yeah, to touch on what Joe said, this defense didn't play like how we expected them to. But I also think it's part of the issue that this was their third game played in 12 days. And so even though they did play, they did have a week of rest from that Thursday night on Thanksgiving, they still played that Sunday earlier. And that's just a hard stretch to play that many games in that short span of time. So this defense definitely looked gassed. They didn't look like the same defense that we usually always see. The Seahawks are one of the worst teams in third down efficiency, but I think they only missed like 1 third down, 2 third downs maybe the whole game. So, they're just running up down the field to even the point where the Cowboys are actually trailing that half, which I definitely didn't expect this to happen. I think we all didn't expect when we were trying to predict the game, our last podcast, that this game was going to be anything but what it was actually on Thursday. So, props to the Seahawks for actually showing up to play. DeRon Bland definitely got memed a little bit on Twitter for that performance at the start. But I think the most important part about this team and about DeRon Bland specifically is when it mattered, which we don't see from the Cowboys a lot. When it mattered, they showed up. When in that fourth quarter, when it was time to actually put things down, actually get to business, especially on defense, they showed up. And that's something that we don't usually see from them. And I give props to Dan Quinn's defense. And even on the offensive side of the ball, Dak just kept them going. He didn't stop the pressure. He didn't stop the gas. I wish he got that 300 piece. I think he threw for 299, not 300. He's continuing his MVP campaign, and I personally believe he's a front runner. They say Brock Purdy's a front runner. This what has happened to the game I love.
Oh yeah, how is Brock Purdy the front runner? Bro. I don't like that at all.
The game against the Eagles, his furthest pass was 15 yards. Like, it's absolutely crazy what they're doing over there in Niners. So, yeah, I would say it's a great game on both sides, but I think it's just an issue of fatigue that hurt the Cowboys this game.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said, and that was basically what I was gonna say. Is I think it was the fatigue, coming in and having it be a shootout was definitely not ideal. Um, I do want to say, I'll say this afterwards, but yeah, I do. The big thing that I really liked was the fact that the defense showed up when it really mattered. That fourth down, of course, Micah Parsons was able to get the Geno right away. I think the Seahawks missed their blocking assignment, but just being able to finally, seeing that was a big help because Micah. Again, I don't know if I'm the one. I feel like Micah seems to drop in production by Joe. I think Micah Parsons seems to drop in production a little bit as the season progresses every year.
Yeah.
So I mean, and throughout that game, I was just like, man, I just don't see him making too much of an impact. I haven't seen him too much. I was at Pluckers, granted, so I didn't watch too much. I wasn't focused completely on the game, but to finally see him do that, it's just big. Big relief for me to see our defense and the guys that we need to step up in that moment. And so, yeah, I mean, but, what I don't like to see is, of course, the coverage, all the coverage mistakes. One of DK Metcalf's touchdowns, was so embarrassing. He was wide open, and you could see that they had the two players collide. Deron Blaine was behind them. He couldn't get past them. And it was just that was just bad. That was really bad. And just like losing out on Shaquille Leonard or Shaq Leonard to Philadelphia,
to division rival and everything.
To the division rival that you're gonna play this week. I mean, just unbelievable, especially with how bad we played in defense that game. Granted, we probably were a little fatigued, but I mean, you're looking at guys. Shaq. I mean, this guy's able to create turnovers pretty well, and that's what this defense is so good at, and that's what this defense needs to win is turnovers. We say this every week. So, I mean, getting Shaq Leonard should have been a priority, especially with our injuries this year, and disappointing to lose out on him, especially with how the coverage and all the mess ups that we had last week against Seattle. So,
yeah,
I think you go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that Darius or Shaquille Leonard signing. I know it was really only down to two teams. I don't really see what he sees in the Eagles that he's not getting from the Cowboys or their record. I mean, I feel like these are they're not similar teams, but I think they're in a similar situation to where they both can offer him and provide him the same things. And I think, I don't remember your name off the top of my head, but I know the Eagles linebacker also went down. I don't remember his name, but he also went down. So he also had a spot over there as well. And so I guess I don't really see why he chose the Eagles over the Cowboys, but I think it's something that the Cowboys need to show him that he should have chose the Cowboys, and they will.
Yeah, I mean, they got a perfect chance this week. What's up, Joe? So I mean, we got it's tough to. Joe sidetracking me right here. All right,
finally it's done. Finally,
awesome.
I think I'm good now.
That's awesome. You didn't miss much, man. We're just talking about the game on Thursday, talking about Shaq. But Shaq does bring us to just kind of what I wanted to bring up is, of course, got to get some predictions in. He picked the Eagles. Courtney mentioned we're kind of in the same position right now, especially if Dallas wins. It kind of gives the first seed of the NFC, makes it kind of a toss up. We got it tied with the Eagles. Sorry. I don't know how the tiebreakers really work. I feel like the Cowboys could win it because I feel like it's probably point differential or maybe something like that. I don't know. But anyways, where do you guys think the Cowboys are gonna, finish?
Well, from what I've seen, it goes from division to conference record if in tiebreaker rules. So if we were to win this game, yeah, we'd have a better conference record than the Eagles, I believe. And then we would, I think, or something like that. But we'd have
three. We have 3 conference losses.
3 conference losses. We lost to Cardinals, Eagles.
They have
who was the third?
Yeah,
and the Niners.
49ers.
Niners. Oh, well, I don't know.
The Eagles lost to the Jets, right?
I saw we'd be first for some reason in the
Shit, maybe the Eagles are first.
If we won,
I think the Eagles.
I don't know, but I heard that if we both finish 14-3, then obviously they'd finish NFC East champs. But as far as this team goes, I just don't want a 12-5 finish again. I feel like if you want to take that jump, you can only afford one more loss at most. And we're about to go through the toughest stretch we've ever had in these past few years. It's about to be insane. And I know people want to maybe gloss over the Bills, but man, that night game in Buffalo, bro, against the Josh Allen team with their backs against the wall.
I'm more scared about Buffalo than Miami, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. That's going to be a tough game. We haven't played in Buffalo in so long. I literally cannot remember the last time we played in Buffalo. Has to be minimum 8 years. Weird. So that's going to be a tough game. Anxious to see how we play in the cold weather. I think we finish 13-4. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to say playoffs where I think we'll finish, though, but I'll say 13-4 regular season finish.
What about you, Courtney?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, nah. I'm just thinking
Bro, are you lagging out too? Like, what's going on?
Nah, I was that till last. Bro, Joe came in like Paul Pierce after his injury. Came back in, he just dropped 30 right now. But I mean, this team, I think no matter what, when it comes to playoffs, no matter what, we just don't want them to face the Niners. I mean, I know, a lot of Cowboys fans want their get back and they want, to actually see we not want to face the Niners. I think the way it's set up right now, if the Cowboys don't get that NFC East title, or at least the number 1 seed in the NFC, I think they would probably face the Niners. I'm not really sure about how it works. I think the Niners are 2 seed.
What do we play? 5. Yeah, wouldn't we play like the Atlanta or whoever's going to win that division?
Yeah, we play the Atlanta, but whoever is second, I believe, in the NFC would be our opponent after them.
Yeah. So it'll be unless they absolutely choke in the wild card.
Yeah, because that's it. Yeah, because that's who that's who we played last time. Niners were after the wild card round against the NFC South. So, I mean, honestly, I would pray for the Eagles to get the 2nd seed. I wouldn't mind that,
Because it's all right with me too. I don't know. I think with the Eagles, I mean, they got their remaining schedule. I mean, it's just too easy. This team's and I don't know. Again, I hate calling the Eagles lucky, because I do want to give them credit. They are a good team, but they win every game by 1 score. They're always down in all of their games. It's just like I don't want to call them lucky, but they're kind of lucky. So it just doesn't. The luck doesn't run out. They're gonna keep getting lucky. That's just how I've noticed in sports, man. When you're a lucky team, you're lucky forever. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think the 5th seed is just it's 12-5 and 5th seed is just gonna be so frustrating again, just to get it another year and to just realize that we're gonna be in the same spot as we were last year. I don't know. I would have to say I'm hoping 13-4. My realistic answer is 12-5 again. I don't know. There's a lot of games this, in the schedule, not just even Philadelphia, but Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, even Washington away is always a problem for us. I mean, I can easily see us picking up 2 losses. Maybe the Eagles, lose to Arizona or have a New York, lose to New York maybe. I don't know. They maybe do that. And, they lost to New Orleans late in the season last year when New Orleans was bad. So, I mean, they did, So, I mean, there's always a chance. There's always a possibility that the Cowboys can sneak this division, but I do see them. I just see them falling it, especially with how the defense was in last game. I do want to say this. I mean, do y'all think? Because I was watching this, I was watching the game, and I was seeing Deron Bland, and I'm like, Deron Bland. Yeah, are they telling him to play? Is this kind of like Dan Quinn's kind of like play style, like? Because he's playing exactly like Trayvon Diggs did in 2021.
Yes,
like exactly. I mean, do you think Dan Quinn has told him to be like that? The ball hawk and
he's just a risk taker.
Angles like that, or do you think he is just a risk taker?
He's just a risk taker. I mean, it might be a little bit of both because A lot of times Dan has his receivers playing more in zone coverage. I mean, his corners in zone coverage and staying away from, the receivers. But that's how he's always been in terms of defensive philosophy. He's not always like a press kind of cover that he wants his corners to be in. And so he's automatically giving up a lot of yards just automatically. And DK was taking advantage of that because they were just throwing these little small routes and relying on Yak to bail him out, which you see the Niners do a lot. But yeah, we're not gonna talk about that dump off merchant somehow being number one in the MVP race. But yeah, I'm just saying, man, I think that philosophy is very iffy. You see, like, we're Texas Longhorn fans. We've seen our defensive coordinator do the same thing, and I feel like it's going to cost us one time when it matters the most because you're having your DBs play off so far. And, DeRon Bland, he was kind of getting cooked. Plain and simple, kind of getting cooked. But it was the risk you take because eventually he was able to read a play in time and get it picked later in the game against Seattle. So how the season goes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, knowing Dan Quinn, I mean, obviously he's most popular for what he did with Seattle and that defense. And I mean, that defense is cover three. They mostly play cover three. He liked to play off a lot. So I mean, it's pretty much what he always does. I think he just has the situation where it's not like the Sherman. Sherman was a little bit more calculated in what he would do and what he would pick off. But I think he has two guys in Diggs and DeRon Bland who are also just risk takers. And so I think he plays a little bit different with them than he would with, like, obviously the stacked defense that he had with Seattle. And even in Atlanta, the only corner I could think that he had that was decent was Desmond Trufant. And he also played off with Desmond Trufant. I know. That's crazy.
Blast from the past.
Yeah, but yeah, it's usually just what Dan Quinn likes to do. It's probably what he's always going to stay with.
Yeah, I mean, I like it's kind of funny. I want to bring up Jordan Lewis real quick though, because I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like him. I think he's always been kind of this, he's a good defensive back, average defensive back that can do his job and stuff. I've noticed, and my dad actually pointed it out, but I noticed it is that Jordan Lewis, man, he's one of the only defensive backs that I see that once the ball gets snapped, he doesn't back up. Like he waits for the receiver to make a move. He'll just stand there. He doesn't because most of them just like back up, start to get, like a little help, to make sure they have some space, some separation to, kind of decide their moves. Jordan Lewis just sits there. He just sits there, waits for him to make his cut, and then he follows him. It's kind of interesting to see. But anyways.
No, about Jordan Lewis, man, we played the Saints played the Cowboys in 2018 on Thursday night.
I remember that. I know
that ball was cooking.
He was really good. My GOAT, Michael Thomas, up. I couldn't believe it.
I thought we were going to blow the game in the end. That pick, he got that clutch pick in the end, bro.
Clutch pick.
Yeah, I watched that game on
I wish I knew you during that game, bro. I was talking crazy. I was talking crazy to Saints fans in my school, bro. They thought we were going to kill Dallas. I knew it was a trap game from the start. I was like, this is where the Saints streak ends right here. I knew it. Man, I was talking big after that game.
All right, so real quick, let's talk about the Mavericks. So let's move on. Transition to the Mavericks. They're 11-8 now in the 6th seed of the West. They're losing a lot of games. 30-0 run in the fourth quarter on Saturday against Oklahoma City, and still lose. I did not watch the game. I was heading back to Austin from the Big 12 championship game, and so I was focused on Louisville, Florida State. And I see on Instagram, I'm scrolling through my feed, I see that the Mavericks went on a 30-0 run. I'm like, let's go, man. We won. I can't believe we won. Let's go. We beat the Thunder. We always lose to the freaking Thunder. And then I check my ESPN app, and we lose? We lost by 6, man, on a 30-0 run? It's pathetic. I want to get y'all's thoughts on the Mavericks right now. I mean, why can't this team win games?
In this past week, we've had some great news with the franchise cornerstone getting the news getting word of the birth of his daughter. Mm-hmm. I believe I forgot the name. I wish I could know the name, sure. But he wasn't playing in that Grizzlies game. But we still have Kyrie Irving, and so when I saw that the box score and stuff, and I'm looking around, I'm trying to wonder, like, we lost by 14 that game to a jawless Grizzlies team. And you look at the percentages, it's mainly because of the shooting, lacking efficiency recently. I mean, it took a comeback to beat the Rockets. I mean, they're not horrible, but they're still the Rockets. They're still a 500 team. And then you look at that Grizzlies game, and we just couldn't hit any shots from deep. The rebounding was okay. It wasn't amazing, but we're still giving up a good amount of offensive rebounds. And then the three-point shooting and shooting overall was just lackluster. But the Thunder, man, that game when Luka and Kyrie are both back as, a duo, it's a shame how it takes, a miraculous run just to even, like, compete against a solid team in OKC like that. Because, I mean, this is a very young team. This is the part where you're supposed to take advantage against them. This whole roster is like, it seems like they're under 28. This is ridiculous how they were just beating us for the first 3 quarters like that, like a drum. And,
Yeah, I know.
And the funny thing is, when you look at the final stats, it's not that bad, honestly. When you look at the final stats, the free throw percentage, I guess you could say, was probably the worst part of it. We missed 12 free throws. That is pretty bad. 23 of 35. That is pretty bad. But 3-point percentage overall wasn't bad. 37, like about 37%. 45% field goal percentage. That's not too bad. But overall, man, this team can't rely on comebacks because you can see already they're not a good comeback team. They're gonna have to hammer the first 3 quarters to be a solid team in this in the West, because as it stands, they're not gonna be a comeback team. They can't hang with some of these front runners in the NBA. So
no, they're having a tough time. I did like how you brought up that we went on a 30-0 run in the fourth quarter against a team that has like no guys over 28 years old, basically. They're all super young, super inexperienced. One of them's got a really bad off-court problem going on right now, and they were still able to gather everything together and complete a comeback against a team that's supposed to be experienced, and that's just bad. Anyways, you go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I've ever heard of Terry run in like any basketball.
First time in NBA history. Yeah,
it's insane.
I mean, the fact that you don't finish. I mean, they ran out the gas. I mean, I also didn't watch the game. Caught the highlights later. They just ran out the gas at the end of the fourth quarter. But they couldn't finish it out, which is pretty much what the Mavs always do. I mean, they just can't finish games. But I think, and it's a game also where Shai, the Thunder's best player, didn't really have that good of a game. I mean, he had like 17 points. Wasn't shooting that well, but they just couldn't finish the job. And I think them at the 6th seed right now, I mean, we can be real here. Those first couple of games at the start of the season, I mean, I think this is what this team should be talent-wise. They should be hovering around the 4th to the 6th seed, probably. That's probably what their ceiling is, realistically. And I mean, they're pretty much showing it. I think they need to be. I know we got long ways until the trade deadline, but I think they need to start looking ahead because this team just needs something. I mean, we put our fingers on it these past couple of weeks, but it still needs something. I mean, Derrick Jones Jr., we talked about Wig last week. Derrick Jones Jr. showed up against that Thunder game.
Yeah.
He got like 24 points, I believe.
Yeah, he's been big in the fourth quarter for us.
Derek Lively's also been hooping. He also had a great game, that Thunder game. And he's been developing. But, I mean, like we said, like we've touched on like a lot, they just can't keep trying to just focus on Luka and Kyrie to get them buckets. I mean, I know Derrick Jones Jr. had a great game, but, I mean, the other times he didn't have great games. So I think they just need something more consistent. They need a player that's more consistent. And they just need to figure out how to play some defense, pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much issues.
Yeah, I've been talking to it, with people, and sometimes, it's hard for me to blame the coach. I don't want to blame Jason Kidd, but at times I feel like our rotations are just so stupid. There'll be times where there'll be games where we empty out the bench by halftime. We have everyone play. This isn't 6th grade. This is the NBA. You got to have a consistent 9-man, 10-man rotation that goes out there and gets you minutes. And I think that's what's really messing us up, is that we keep on meshing everybody together and we keep on meshing different lineups. We have so many different lineups that we've thrown out there this season that our communication on defense just isn't that strong. And so that's really kind of starting to I think that's really factoring into how bad we've been on defense this year. I don't know. I mean, this team is also just not good, with the eye test on defense. You look at the roster and you realize that this team just isn't a good defensive team. They showed that. They proved that, especially last year. But I mean, with that being said, also, having the 12 free throws missed against the Thunder is, of course, being costly. They're always super bad with, free throws and rebounds. How many times have you heard that story before with the Mavericks? Especially with Kyrie being out against Oklahoma City, of course, they're going to struggle with free throws. That's the only guy who can, that I can trust to hit free throws. But with that being said, we got, the Utah Jazz and Portland Trailblazers coming up. The Jazz will be played by the time this episode's up. But I mean, this is a perfect time for the Mavericks to regain themselves and to get some wins on the board, maybe jump the standings in the Western Conference. The Jazz, they're both bottom 5 of both offensive and defensive ratings. And the Blazers, who we play the next game, are the worst scoring team in the league. Worst scoring team in the league at 105 points per game. So we need to get going. We need to get going. We need to take advantage of this. But with that being said, I mean, the Jazz, they got an absolute monster in Lauri Markkanen. There's nobody on our team that is going to be able to stop Lauri Markkanen. That's going to be a really tough game. I mean, he's shooting almost 40% from 3. He could very well have a 50-40-90 season. Believe it or not, Karl-Anthony Towns is having a 50-40-90 season right now.
Wow.
But he's not the best big man shooting of all time. No, do not say that. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to stop Markkanen. But hopefully we're able to stop the other players that maybe are future Mavericks, like Jordan Clarkson, I hope, and maybe possibly John Collins. But I don't know.
Is J-Kidd on the hot seat this season?
J-Kidd on the hot seat. It's tough, man. It's so tough because you don't want to make that next the coaching change again. Because it's like, what is Luka? I would say if Luka says yes, then go for it.
I think
that's all. I would say give it to Luka. Let Luka decide. Just do what Luka wants at this point because we could easily lose him because of how bad we've been.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I don't know. What about you, Courtney? You think J-Kidd's on the hot seat, though?
I think you got to give him a pass. I mean, this is his first full year with basically, a whole new roster, kind of. First full year at Kyrie. And, you would think a star would help you. Kyrie has been questionable. I don't know if he's going to play against the Jazz tomorrow or today.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think there's so much moving things in this Mavericks organization that I think we gotta give him a little bit more time. I know in the NBA, in the league, and every league, basically in sports, we all want things now. But I think J-Kidd can actually bring this team to where they need to be. I don't think them getting a new coach is going to be like the deciding factor. But at the same time, the Bucks also felt the same way with Budenholzer. He even won them a championship, but they just couldn't get over the hump after that, and they let him go. So, it happens in this league. If J-Kidd gets fired this year, I wouldn't be shocked. But he also is a Dallas favorite. So I think they could give him a little bit more of a leeway than other coaches.
Fair point. So that'll be it for the Mavericks, though. We'll talk about them a little bit more next week. Hopefully we'll have some good positive stuff to talk about, some improvements. I do want to say real quick, shout out to the Texas Rangers. We're not going to talk about them this week, but they did sign Kirby Yates. Of course, free agency is heating up in the MLB world, so hopefully we'll have something to talk about next week. Maybe we'll talk about who we want to see in a Rangers uniform and all that stuff. And so we'll see about that next week.
I got my answer to Tut.
Is it? I won't say anything. We'll save it. All right. Anyways, so yeah, just shout out to Kirby Yates. Good start to the bullpen. The quest for the bullpen, getting a better bullpen. So, but anyways, let's talk about the Stars real quick. Does anyone want to make comments about the Stars this week? Does anyone?
All you, bro.
All right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
All right. So look, I kind of put this in. I want to talk, and I'll keep this like 2 minute talk. 2 minute TED talk. All right. Are the Stars pretenders or contenders? All right.
Okay.
Because this is a question that's dawning on me. All right. Because technically the Stars should be contenders, but man, are they struggling against good teams this year. They're not. They're kind of sliding a little bit. They've lost to Calgary a couple times. But to be honest, I mean, look, this team, I gotta say, might be the strongest team we've had in a couple years. I'm waiting for them to take this big step. All right. We got that scoring depth. The scoring depth is amazing. We've had problems with that. Our first line, second line, third line, all got options. All got options. All right. Defense is pretty good. Not as good as it usually is. Ryan Suter's still on the team, which is always going to be a problem. Of course, you got Miro Heiskanen. He hasn't been too good this year, but come on. I mean, Miro Heiskanen, best player on the team, in my opinion. The way he skates around, the way he gets the way he controls a power play, all that stuff, makes it look so easy. He's going to pick it up eventually. Jake Ottinger, Scott Wedgwood. Scott Wedgwood's been a surprise this year. He's been great as a backup goalie. Jake Ottinger has been fantastic as always. He'll always have those bad games every now and then, but overall, I think it's defense's fault. Our defense just, misses their position every now and then. They get a little too soft. They let people into the zone, in front of the net. A lot of times the team score are tip-ins and stuff. So, you're looking at that. But I don't know. It's like to the point where I'm like, I don't know what really needs to be improved on this team other than maybe defense, maybe getting another defensive player that could help us out. Maybe someone who could contribute on offense as well for the defensive side. I really don't know who that would be. I've always liked Seth Jones on the Blackhawks, but I'm sure they're not going to look the trade for him. We've always been with rumors about him and never got him. He's from Dallas though, so. But anyways, yeah, that's all I gotta say. I think my final answer, my conclusion is that this team are contenders. I don't know, man. You look at the games like the Colorado, and it's tough to say that this team is going to be, I was about to say Super Bowl. I'm too much football mind, man, with Texas and Dallas. But the Stanley Cup Finals, man, they could easily make it. They made it 3 years ago with a team that I would argue it was less talented. So, I think, Vegas, it's going to be tough for them to repeat. It's always tough to do that in hockey. Colorado's going to be a tough one. We just got to beat Colorado, and we got to beat Edmonton probably too. They'll probably be good eventually. So, I'm just saying, I think this team can be contenders this year. I think this team can make another run this year. I wouldn't be surprised. They got the money, they got the not the money. They got the stamina to do it, man. This team, man, I swear they never get tired. They'll always play good. They'll always try their best. So, anyways, that's all I got for the Stars. I'm trying to keep it quick. I believe they play an Eastern team tonight, and then they go and play the Capitals, and that will be tonight technically, since this will be the 7th when this airs.
Florida Panthers tonight.
Florida Panthers tonight. All right,
the runners up in the NHL.
Yep, that's true. So big game, and then playing Ovechkin tomorrow. So plenty to look forward to for the Dallas Stars. But let's get into the betting lines for the big game this week, Philadelphia and Dallas. I got a banner right here from Philadelphia and Dallas 2 years ago that's hanging up on my wall when Trayvon Diggs picked 6 Jalen Hurts, and
Monday Night Football
never controlled that game other than the one stupid fumble in the end zone that Dak had at the start of the game. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I barely remember that play. But big game. The starting line for the Cowboys-Eagles game is the Cowboys at -3.5. They got them favored 3.5 points. What do y'all think that it goes over that or under? Do you think the Cowboys beat them by less than 3 points and the Eagles win, or the Cowboys win by 4 more?
I think 4 more. I think it'll be a 1-possession game still, but under 3.5. I don't think it'll come down to a field goal. I mean, it could come down to a field goal, like to seal off the game.
We beat them by 3 last year, right? It's a 3-point game.
3. Yeah. Gardner Minshew. Mm-hmm. I would think, if it's a tie game, I guess, but I think we can beat them by 7 to 8. I say over 3.5.
All right. What do you say, Courtney?
That's an interesting one. I'm also gonna go for more. Yeah, I think they'll beat them. Not convincingly, obviously. I think it'll be one possession. So I'm just gonna piggyback off of Joe. I'll probably say about 4, like 7.
All right. Well, I'll go under since we don't sweep it here. I think it could be a field goal win. I think that's what it's going to be. I don't want to say the Philadelphia wins, but I will say that the Cowboys make it a close game, of course. So yeah, I'll go under with that. Let's go ahead and get to the over. The over-under is set at 52.5. Is that over or under for y'all?
I think it's going to be over again. I think I've been putting the over in like all the Cowboys games at this point because just how well they play offense. But, seeing how this defense has kind of faltered recently, I think it can easily be an over. So I'm going to go over easy on that one.
Yeah, I think it was 28-23. I think, yeah, the other game was 2023. So, I mean, they can score against each other. This defense, if it falters like it did against the Seahawks, which I don't expect it to, but if it does, the Eagles will score, and by result, the Cowboys got to score too. So, yeah, I'm going to go over for sure. I think it's going to be a high 30 plus for both teams, maybe.
All right, I'll keep it under, over, and under again. It's always hard to go under on this for the Cowboys because you never know. They could always go off for 30, 40 points. And that's exactly what they did against Philadelphia last year too. But Philadelphia, I don't know, man. I just see them, really cracking down on defense this week against the Cowboys. 42 points against San Francisco. They're not going to let that happen again. This team is a winning team, of course, sadly. So I'll go under. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be, not as high scoring as most Cowboys games are. So let's go ahead to the individual stats. So Dak and his passing yards, man, they keep on going up. It's skyrocketed this time. His passing yards is at 301.5. All right. So do y'all think it's over or under here?
He cooks the secondary every single time. So I have to think it's going to be over. I don't think our run game is going to be cooking at all. Tony Pollard, you're doing okay recently, but I think it's going to be another Dak passing attack kind of game. So I'm going to say over 301.5.
I hate to agree with Joe again, but I mean, he's just been cooking. I'm going to
go
over too.
Right, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I think he'll have. I mean, he had like 347 against the Eagles last time they played. Obviously, in a loss, and he's obviously trying to avenge that loss. I think he's going to do everything in his power as a leader, as a quarterback, to avenge that loss. I think he's for sure throw over 300.
Yeah, I'm going to sweep it this time, though. I'm going to go over for it because I don't know. I think I've gone under the last couple of weeks for Dak, and, he hasn't given me any reason to try to do that again because he keeps on hitting over. So yeah, I can't hate. I'm going to have to go over for him. I think that is what's going to happen. So let's go to the other quarterback, Jalen Hurts. His passing yards a little bit lower. I wonder why. 265.5 passing yards for him. Over or under for y'all?
He's dealing with a little bit of an injury. I don't think it's still going to hold him back from competing in the game, but he'll play. But I think he's a little bit banged up and he's still trying to find a way to play. I think he can slightly get the over on this. I don't think it's going to be a crazy 300-yard game like Dak's, but considering they have a better rush attack than we do and our run D is not exactly amazing, I think they can have a better balance in their offensive game plan. And so with that being said, I think Hurts has just a little bit over that and they have a good amount of rushing yards.
Man, I see someone say, I see David Carr, which I hate the whole Carr family right now.
I saw that.
I see David Carr say that Marcus Mariota will be more productive than Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts is hurt right now, which is absolutely crazy. Ridiculous.
That's asinine.
That's a asinine. This is asinine. But I think Hurts, even healthy or not healthy, I still don't think he's going to go over 262. I think he's going to probably be right under that team. I think they're going to run all over the Cowboys defense, if anything. So I'm going to go under on that.
Yeah, it's a tough one because Hurts usually does pretty good against the Cowboys, but I don't know if it's really because of his air attack. I'm gonna have to go under for him. I don't think it's insane under. Um, I think he gets he's gonna have his air attack. He's gonna be able to. I think he's still gonna have a really good game. I think there's many times that Jalen Hurts has a really good game and has not that many passing yards. And I think that's probably going to be the case here. Again, I don't see him turning the ball over either. I know he's a turnover merchant now. He's worse than Dak was last year, which nobody talks about. But I mean, sorry,
No.
I just had to put
you're
that in.
spitting. You're spitting. I'm not.
I just had to put that in. But he always seems to have it locked in against the Cowboys, especially in the last 2 years when he's been really good. So I'm gonna go, but I'll go under here. Pollard is at 65.5 rushing yards. Over under for y'all.
The run D is not good, so I think he's going to get probably 70 rush yards. But again, we're leaning more in the pass as of now, so unless it starts clicking more than usual, I would think that we're going to have more of a pass game. But as far as Pollard, I think he can split well with Rico. I think they'll have more of an even amount of rush yards, so I think Pollard just gets over on that.
The line, you said 65.5. I don't see it, bro. I mean, he only had 50-ish against them last game. I don't want to keep going off of what the trends are last game, but I don't think these teams are really much different than what they were when they played a couple of weeks ago. I mean, Dak has definitely played a lot better. They probably played a little bit worse the Eagles have, so I don't really see much of a difference in that game. I think, like I said, Dak is going to try to be Superman this game in a good way. So I'm gonna go a little under on Pollard's yards.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Week and week, I feel like we've started to shift focus away from Tony Pollard and just not even care about him in our offense. I'm gonna say this is the game where we try to get him involved, though. I say we go over. This is gonna be again. This is a tough game, tough game, and it's a very very tough stretch too. Um, so I don't know, man. The Cowboys, they've always been a team that's always tried to establish the run early in games. They haven't been doing that this year. I don't know. Maybe that changes this game. I'm gonna
Hopefully.
go over. I'm gonna go over. So the last one, CD Lamb, 101.5 receiving yards. I think this is the first time we've had CD Lamb over 100 yards for the projection. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, CD's been cooking as of late, but his last game against Philadelphia, that's his season high in receiving yards. And also, I believe his season high receiving yards in his career in the NFL. He had 191 receiving yards last time. So I think because of that reason, they're going to try to prioritize him more in the Philly defense perspective. And so I think it's more of a Brandon Cooks, Jake Ferguson type of game. So I'm going to go under just slightly. I think CD will still have a touchdown, but I don't think it's going to be running at will as he was in that game in Philadelphia because they could not even cover him. So he's going to get double, triple teamed, I think, in this game. It's going to be Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson running the show, I think.
Yeah, the way Brandon Cooks and Jake Ferguson have stepped up in the past couple of games, too, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I'm going to still go over. I think CD, with the 100 piece that he had last game, I think he's also going to be they're also going to try to give him the ball a lot. I think no matter what, he's like a Cooper Kupp situation. I mean, they know that he's going to go crazy. Well, not this year's Cooper Kupp. The last year's Cooper Kupp and the year before that. I think they know he's going to go have a lot of yards, but there's really not much he can do anyway. It just depends on how they scheme him. I think Mike McCarthy's going to do a good job of scheming CeeDee Lamb this game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Eagles, they tend to give wide receivers some big games. I like the Jake Ferguson prediction, though. I think Jake Ferguson has a big game. I'll go a slight under. I think he has a good game. I think he has at least a touchdown. But I'll go under for this just because I feel like I've been going positive Cowboys and negative Eagles every single time, and I don't want to, I don't want to make it seem like this is some biased thing. I don't know how this game's going to go. But anyways, that's it for those betting lines. Let's get to the answer to the trivia. The Luka Doncic question. How many points does he have in his career so far? I'll give it to whoever's closest. Go.
I had to say, big delay last time I was talking about this topic, but I'm just gonna go with 8,000. I'll switch my answer. 8,000. 8,100. How about that? 8,100 career points.
All right, Kobe.
Okay. I went with my math here. So he's played 5 full seasons. So 82. Like, he hasn't played all 82 games, but I mean, it's Luka Doncic. So I went 82, and I times it by like 20, right? And then I added 5 games after that. So my number. Let me just do the numbers again.
He did calculations.
All right, man.
I'm gonna go and it's
no
like
eye test.
8,000. It's about 8,200. I was gonna say 30, but I like it. I'm an analytics guy. I'm gonna go 9,000.
9,000, and Joe's with 8,100.
Oddly specific.
Well, Courtney, congratulations. You are the closest one. He is at 9,665 points right now, almost close to 10K.
Yes,
probably going to reach 10K by the end of the month. So
that has to be on pace for like quickest all time, right?
If I don't know if it's top quickest 3 all time, but it's definitely top 5. It's got to be top 5.
It's insane.
No doubt about it. Yeah, 6th season, entering the 6th season, still in the first half, and almost at 10K.
33K though, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat. I don't know when LeBron's record is gonna be passed. It's gonna be tough. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this episode. Let's get some socials going, boys. Come on, who's going first?
Yeah, you can follow me Instagram and Twitter at Joseph_Duffy99. Again, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Joseph_Duffy99.
My name is wait, hold on, I'm tripping. My Twitter, my Instagram is clivesdalife, and my Twitter is c_machani.
All right, and then my Instagram is tj.krilowic. My Twitter is tj_krilowic. You can follow me there. You can also follow the 214 Sports Show on those accounts. It's going to be at 214 Sports Show on Instagram, Twitter /X, TikTok. Also, you can follow us /subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify to find our podcasts. They are every single week on Thursday. We've been varying with the times. We usually post them around 11 o'clock in the morning and such.
Yes.
So, would love to get you, would love to get some interaction on our social medias. We try to be, very active with them and the talk, and the talk a lot on those. So anyways, that'll be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We can't wait for next week and, to talk about the Philadelphia game. Hopefully it'll be a win. And that's it. See y'all.